In this video, we're going to look at how to put together our project plan for our web development assignment, or I guess indeed any assignment that you have to put together a project plan. So the reason why we put together a project plan is because we want to be able to identify what we need to do to complete the project, as well as looking at what time we need to complete that task. Okay, so there is some resources already available to you, which we're actually going to use as part of this assignment. So you've got this template, which we're going to put our plan onto, and it gives us a lot of good clues. We also have our work rate calendar. So the work rate calendar is used to discuss what we're looking at in class in any given week, as well as any work that needs to be completed. So this does give us some clues to the timelines of when things need to be done. All right, but however, we do identify that at Brisbane SDE, we have students that have all sorts of different things going on, whether it's traveling for events, medical appointments, even just general family activities that need to be done. So for that reason, it's important that you're customizing this for your personal plan. So if you know you're going to be away for a week, or you know that you miss one lesson every week because of something else that's going on, right, you need to be able to adjust around this. Also, it's a great skill to practice and learn, because while the teachers are here to support you, and they'll pretty much give you an idea each lesson what you should be doing in terms of the project. The fact is, in a few years' time, you won't have that level of support. You'll be doing projects and activities, and you'll have to, organize and plan yourself to complete those. So this is a great opportunity to practice the skill in a safe environment where, even if you're not sure about it, the teachers will sort of push you along with it. All right, so you can see there's a template here, which we could be very tempted just to quickly fill in. However, it doesn't give us a lot of detail around the steps, like what does it mean to investigate, generate, produce, evaluate. All right, so that's what we want to identify, is what are the tasks that we need to do to achieve these goals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a chart similar to what's on the plan, but I'm going to do it in Excel. So there's a bit more freedom. We can, add a bit more style to it, that sort of thing, if we wish to. Not that I'm the most stylish cat going around, but I'm going to put in the title. So I'm just going to call it Technologies SA1 Project Plan. And then I'm going to set the table up somewhat similar. The difference being is that if I look at my work rate calendar, which has shrunk there for a second, I can see that we're starting this assessment task in week 3. Right, so I don't need to put in week 1 and week 2 like what's up here. I'm just going to go from week 3 to week 9, because that's, I guess, when we're working. Week 3, week 4, and then I think there's a neat little trick. I'm going to give it a try. There we go. So I'll just do that again. You might have been a bit too quick. So what we do is we highlight week 3, week 4, and then you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little black square or a colored square. When you hover the mouse over it, the cross changes from a white cross to a black cross even. All right, if we click and drag that across, you can see it generates the weeks based on the next number. So week 8, week 9. So a cheeky little shortcut, if you don't like typing, is to add the weeks in with that clicking and dragging of the values. So the next thing we need to do now is identify the tasks. Right? And you might think, well, it says here, investigate, generate, those are the tasks. They're actually not. As I said, we need to think about how do we investigate, how do we generate. We're basically thinking about all the things we need to do for the assessment task. All right, so I guess the trick to that is we can use this template because it tells us at the top what the tasks are. You can see this task is project management. We've then got our collection of data. And then I guess for each one, it's collecting these data considerations. Then we've got some investigating, defining, generating. All right, so these slides actually go through those activities. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those in. So the first one, task, is project management. All right, and I guess really that's what we're doing right now. We are doing the first task in our project. If you didn't see that as well, I just double clicked in between the A and the B at the top to stretch the row out so it doesn't all get so collection of data was the next one. And that basically encompasses all of these things down to the protocols used for transferring files. So then investigating accessibility is the next activity. So I'm going to put that in. What's next? Defining success criteria. So we've got generating our sitemap and our interface design. Generate sitemap. Generate interface wireframe. There's a checkpoint evaluation, so we'll put that in. So then we're producing our solution. So producing a website for our assignment in this case. So we've got to discuss some modifications. I guess as well as part of that. So we've got the screenshots there. It's probably part of produce website, so we'll come back to that. So we've got our file management. So screenshot file management, that's the task we have to do for that. And then our evaluation and our references, which is the last slide there. Okay, so you can see already we've broken down what is listed as just a few steps in the template into a more detailed list of tasks that we need to complete. So we can start working on the timelines for this. So if we have a look at project management, we're doing that now. So I reckon that'll take us one lesson to do. Obviously, if you're watching this video and then you're going to do it, that's how long it could very well take. All right, and then we can use our colors. So you can see here as well, they've got a bit of a key, so you can do something like that. I'm going to use yellow for lessons that or activities we need to do. Maybe green once they're finished. So collection of data, well, we do have to collect a fair bit of data, so I'm actually going to give myself 2 lessons to do that. So it's going to take up most of week 3. So 2 lessons, and again, we'll color that in. Right, so we've basically for our 3 lessons we've got this week, I'm planning my project and then collecting the data. Obviously, if I'm away, I'm catching up, making sure that I am up to this by the start of week 4, so we can continue sticking to the plan. All right, so investigating accessibility, that might take a lesson. Same with our defining success criteria. And then I'm thinking with the generating, because it's drawing and I'm okay with drawing, it's probably going to take half a lesson to do. So again, they're all things we need to do. And I guess with the checkpoint evaluation, if we look at that, it is due at the end of week 4. So this sort of works out well that we've managed to squeeze this into weeks 3 and 4. I might need to find a bit of time to do this, so maybe I might have to do like as homework, the checkpoint evaluation. And then I don't know about you, but I'm pretty terrible with remembering to submit stuff. So what I'm going to do at this point is actually insert a new row. So you can just, I guess, move these down a step. But the other option is if you click on the 11, so the row below, where we want to add in a row, right click and say insert, it'll add in an extra row. And I'm actually going to make one of the tasks to submit my checkpoint. All right, so that way I don't forget, and I might even make it a different color. So maybe the red to make it a bit more important, or is that orange? I can't really tell. All right, but that then gives us, a reminder we need to submit the checkpoint. All right, so then I guess our website is going to be the most complicated part. So I'm actually going to use, I reckon, 6 lessons. So 3 lessons and 3 lessons. Okay, so then I guess it gives me a bit of time in week 7 to, have a think about well, actually, I guess really with the modifications, I probably want to be doing them as I go through. So I'm actually going to put those in week 5 and 6 as well. And I'm just going to say as needed. So that's just reminding me, okay, just as we need to, we can go in and discuss any changes we've made to our design. So I guess maybe even, oh, actually, it's probably more of a week 7 thing. So when's our draft due? It's due at the end of week 7. Okay, so from here, I'm going to say, well, week 8 or week 7, sorry, spend 1 lesson, doing my screenshots. So I might just change this to screenshot file management. Actually, I'll go screenshot our website or web pages, I should say. So again, if I sort of go with the system I had before, half a lesson for both of that. Obviously, it doesn't take 30 minutes to screenshot your files and folder structure, but that's fine. A little bit of breathing room. And then that probably gives me, a lesson or 2, so maybe 1.5 lessons to evaluate, half a lesson to do my referencing if I need to. All right, and so then like similar to our checkpoint submission, we need to make sure we're submitting our draft. So we're going to put another reminder in. All right, and so then I guess the question is, what are we doing in weeks 8 and 9 between the draft and the final? So probably the main thing is applying the draft feedback. That's going to be my focus for those 2 weeks. And then obviously I need to remember to submit the final submission. That's going to be at the end of week 9. So I didn't color that in. There we go. All right, so I'll just make this a bit bigger so we can see all of it. Right, so obviously we can go in and do some formatting, like putting that nice, merge center the heading in, make it a bit bigger. All right, so we've got our plan there. But I guess, it's pretty good having, these sort of lesson by lesson. Here's what I'm going to do this particular lesson. So it might be worthwhile having a look at this producing website, and we've got 6 lessons. So, trying to break down what we need to do for this. So I guess if we add in a couple of more rows, start with a few and we'll just see how we go. I'll just get rid of the times there. Might even get rid of the colors just for a bit. Right, so if we think about the steps that we need to do in our process, so probably the first thing we need to do is set up our uh, all that, our HTML template. So we'll just put a few spaces in. That'll work well. So, the first lesson is putting together that HTML template. So setting up my structure, I've got my sections like my header, my footer, and, putting that together. So I guess then we're looking at some of the CSS styling for the template. So, things like setting up the colors, the navigation, there's a few steps involved with that we've looked at in class. We'll look at in class if you haven't done it yet. Spoiler alert. So then I guess, we've got adding content to the pages. So this is things like your text and your text and your images, maybe a video if you've managed to find a good video. So I guess, that's going to take our third lesson plus maybe another lesson into the next week. And then, so I guess maybe we can even spend a bit more time on some of this stuff. So, if we need to spend a bit more time with the styling, we can. So a couple of lessons there. And, I guess you can see I've got a bit more time up my sleeve. So I guess even what we could do, if we insert another line, is dedicate one lesson so any unfinished work that we've got, we can catch up with. So, sometimes it's good to also plan downtime, as part of it, because as well, I guess, if you get sick and you miss a day or two, it is handy to have time to. All right, so I guess the one thing I keep forgetting to do, and you should do this regularly, is make sure you're saving your work. So I'm just going to find, I think that's the folder where I've got my template. Something like that, project planning. But make sure you know where you've saved it because you do need to access it. And I guess, we're pretty close to finishing. So I guess once we've done that, we have successfully completed our project plan. So what we could even do, if I just make this a little bit bigger, is our project management's now done. So we can highlight that green to say it's completed. All right, and I guess, this is an important part of the project plan. It's not just something you do at the start and then you completely neglect it. All right, you should be updating it as you go. So, coloring it in green and making sure you're coming back to it regularly. So this is another reason why using the Excel spreadsheet is a good idea. It's because you can come back to it and, color it. Or I guess, you can have different colors. So let's say, for example, the next couple of lessons you're away sick. All right, you might want to, put in, well, maybe a red or something. Yeah, red's usually a good one. All right, you might even have a little note off to the side that said, away sick, need to catch up, things like that. All right, so you can absolutely do something like this, have like a note section that you can use to comment on your process as well, which will come in really handy when you get to your evaluation as well. Because you don't have to think back, oh, what did I do 4 weeks ago? Oh, I made a note. That's pretty smart. All right. So, I'm just going to Actually, I'll leave that in there as an example just so you can see it. All right, so then I guess the question is, well, how do we get this into our PowerPoint? So obviously you can take a screenshot and put it in. All right, but there is a smarter way of doing this. So what I'm going to do is get rid of this. Key down the bottom. And you'll see there's all these different options for things that you can import. All right, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to go to insert at the top of the page. And over on the right-hand side here, we've got object. So in the text section, so if your screen's a bit smaller, you might not be able to see it. You'll have to go to text and select object. Setting. Oops. So click there, insert object. Okay, and you can see it has either create new or create from file. So we've already created our PowerPoint. So I'm going to say create from file. And this is why it's important you remember where you saved it. So you go browse. And as I said, I think I've saved it in the same folder as this PowerPoint, which is useful. So planning example. There it is, project planning. Okay, so if we click OK, may need to restore. Oh no, it's not going to work for me. Open the file location. So what if I close it? Will it sync then? Maybe now it's synced, it'll work. So it may just be because I saved it on my OneDrive. Or maybe, did I select the wrong one? Maybe Excel worksheet. Oh no, that's the new one. I do want to create it from the file. Where are we? 2024. Here we go, take two. I was thinking about it. That's a good start. There we go. It was because it wasn't synced. All right, and you can see it puts it in exactly in the format. Obviously, the notes got chopped off a little bit. Can I make it a bit wider? No, it just stretches the whole thing out. So I guess, I can go in and fix that. So I just need to adjust the notes column so it fits all of it in. Save that. It looks like it's saved. Wait for it to sync. Refresh it. Worksheet object. I think we can edit and open it. So you can actually access it through here now as well. All right, but as you can see, it doesn't make it bigger, which is unfortunate. Do I have to format it? No. If I work it out, I'll get back to you, but I guess if I redo it, you'll see that it does change with the notes. So insert, I'll just make this a bit bigger again. So object from the text section, insert text object from file. There you go, back. Saved it. All right, there we go. And now it's got the updated notes. All right, so you can, nice easy way of doing it. As I said, you can access it from here if you forget, or if you want to update it. I guess you just have to reinsert it if you're showing your updated plan. All right, but I think that covers all the bases that we need for our project plan. As we talk about, you don't have to do it this way. Some people like to use a calendar. So you can put like the calendar in there with the days and the months and put like each day. I like something like this because it sort of has a timeline to it. If you look at the pattern, you can color it in nice and easily. And it does easily adjust for when you want to add more detail potentially. All right, so that's how you put together a project plan.